Hello everyone, good morning. Am I audible? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so let's begin with the session here. Okay, so as we know that we were talking about something called as collections here, and in order to complete collections, I require a few more days. Okay, so today it's gonna be a really important session for you all because we're going to talk about the most important concepts that we have under collections here. Okay, so let us try to understand everything in a beautiful manner here. Okay, so yeah, okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so few days we discussed about collection, right? So make sure go through all of it. Okay, whatever we discussed in the previous session, make sure you study it so that it becomes easy for you all. Okay, so in today's session here, we are going to talk about a very important topic that is nothing but for each loop, or we might also call this as enhanced for loop. What is the topic we're going to discuss now? We're going to talk about something called as for each loop or enhanced for loop. Okay. What is the job of a for loop basically? The job of a for loop is for repeating, correct? If I want to repeat something, I make use of for loop, and it is also used for traversing purpose as well. Traversing meaning I want to fetch the objects one by one, one by one, one by one, right? So therefore I can make use of for loop here. Okay, so we have the syntax here. Okay, for each loop is an advanced topic which I'm going to cover now. Okay, for okay, I have to give here. Okay, open parenthesis close. Okay, open parenthesis and close parenthesis and open curly braces and close curly braces. This is the scope of the for loop here. And the first parameter which I need to pass over here is I need to pass the data type to traverse. Okay, I need to pass the data type to traverse. Okay, what is the data type I'm going to traverse? I need to specify it over here. After that, okay, I have to give the traversing variable name. Okay, I have to give the traversing variable here, okay, or the iterating variable, okay, colon, okay, and I have to give the array name or the collection name in order to traverse the content, and I have to make use of this particular data. So in simple terms, what is the job of for loop here? Repeat or traverse. So for each loop is a looping statement which is used most of the time for traversing a group of objects. Okay, why? Because the efficiency is comparatively high. Okay, with respect to for each loop here, the efficiency is comparatively high. That's the reason we're making use of for each loop for traversing a group of objects here. I'll prove it to you practically first. Okay, so we are going to work around a project called as collection framework under SRC. We are done with 2 days of session with respect to collection, and now let me create a package, and the package name is day 3. Okay, so today is the third day of collections here. Now here I will create a class, and the class name is for each loop. Okay, for each loop example or demo, for each loop demo here. Okay, now here you have to just closely observe here. Okay, so make sure you try to observe what is happening over here. Okay, so yeah, I have my class and I will have my main method wherein the execution will generally begin from. Okay, so I generally have my main method as well. Okay, so that my program execution starts from the main method. Okay, now here, now guys, int a, is it a variable or an array here? Is it a variable or an array here? Okay, so this is nothing but, okay, int a is nothing but it's a variable. So now when I write it as integer array here, it's a is of type int. Okay, it can show multiple int values, correct? So it's an array now, equals to open curly braces close 10 20 30 here. Okay, open curly braces close curly braces. So this is a array. Okay, this is an array. If I want to traverse an array, okay, what am I supposed to do here? So closely observe here. When I tell integer array a, okay, int array a equals to 10 comma 20 comma 30, it simply means here, okay, it simply means an array got created. Okay, an array got created which is storing the value 10, 20 and 30, and the index position is 0, 1, 2, and this is A, and this is A of 0, this is A of 1, and this is A of 2 here. Okay, so we have an array and I have, we have an array. If I want to traverse it with the help of normal for loop here, how am I supposed to do it here? Open curly braces close, and I am supposed to write the content here. So if I want to fetch 10 here, the index position is 0, correct? So I will initialize my I value to 0, okay? And now it is gradually incrementing 0 to 1, 1 to 2. It is gradually incrementing by 1, so it is I plus plus. Okay, now here, if I want to traverse it till 10, 20, 30 till the end point, will I make use of length here? Will I make use of length of here? Or will I make use of size of? Which is the three options I'm supposed to use? Should I make use of length? Should I make use of length of? Should I make use of size of? So what is the requirement? Can you tell me here? Should I make use of size or length of here? Okay. So now everyone, okay, I am getting different set of answers here even after doing it yesterday. Guys, I told you yesterday, if I have a collection, okay, I have to make use of size. This is a pure array. I have made use of an array, correct? So array does not have any methods at all. Therefore I have to write it as I should be lesser than a dot length. Guys, this is wherein you go wrong here. If you do not practice it, this is what will happen. Okay, if you're not preparing well here, okay, you will never ever get a job. Fix that thing in your mind here. Okay, it's just not you come here, attend the session and go back here, don't practice it. That's not going to help you out. Okay, we're almost towards the end of Java session here, wherein you're supposed to be at least, few things you're supposed to remember here. If you're not able to work on those few things, it's going to be really difficult to crack an interview. I'm telling you now itself. Okay, sooner or later you're gonna regret us. Okay, so make sure you try to practice whatever we did. Okay, so we are done with 2.5 months of Java session here. Okay, so it's high time for you all to realize that, okay, we have to put in some extra efforts and start preparing. If you don't do it, whose loss? It's ultimately your loss, not my loss. Okay, so make sure, try to give some time. You have so many busy schedule, I understand, but somehow take some time, right? Okay, and try to work around with it. So length is used for arrays, length of, it's a method used for strings, and size of is used for collection. Okay, I've told you several times, even yesterday. Even after repeating it yesterday, if you give me wrong answers here, what am I supposed to tell here? Am I not teaching properly? Okay, I'm feeling guilty now. Okay, am I not training that well? So that's the reason you're not able to understand. So those many questions will come now. Okay, so I am giving my 100% effort, and this is what I have been doing it from past 3.5 years here. Okay, this is how I train, and this is how I've got my students placed. But if you're not studying over here, it's ultimately the problem is from your end, not from my end. 100%. Okay. Okay, I don't want to start with philosophy classes. Make sure you practice it. Now here, what is the option I'm supposed to make use of? So now if I want to use it, should I make use of a dot get of I? Should I make use of option 1, or should I make use of option 2, a of I? Can you tell me here? Should I make use of first option or option number 2? Now at least give me the correct answer. Should I make use of option 1 or option 2? Okay. Very good, very good. Okay, so that's how I expect answers from you all. Okay, you need to concentrate and try to digest what is happening over here. Okay, super. Okay, sir, this is an array. A is an array. Array does not have method, so I cannot make use of get method also. I cannot make use of size or not length. I cannot make use of anything. So I have to make use of pure indexing. I have to make use of A of I over here. Very good. That's it. Ashte. We're just supposed to concentrate and try to understand whatever we do here. Okay. So what is my I value? 0. Is 0 lesser than 3 here? Length is 3. Okay. 0 lesser than 3 comes inside. A of 0. What is A of 0? 10. Control will go back. I plus plus. It will become 1. Control comes inside. Is 1 lesser than 3? Yes. Control comes inside. A of 1. 20. Goes here. Goes back. I plus plus. Check the condition. Is 2 lesser than 3? Yes. A of 2. 30. Goes back. I plus plus. Check the condition. Is 3 lesser than 3? No, stop it. And I have successfully traversed the elements here. 10, 20, 30. I have successfully traversed because it's an array. Okay, now. So I will make use of a normal for loop over here. And I will make use of int I equals to 0. I is lesser than, okay, lesser than a dot c length because it's an array. Okay, and I plus plus. If it was a collection, size of. It was as a string, length of. Okay. So here I have to make use of proper indexing A of I. So did I get the expected output here? See, I will definitely get the output as 10, 20, 30 here. So if I execute it, I am traversing it with the help of normal for loop here. Okay, I'm just getting the output as 10, 20, 30 here. Clear? Now here, after this, I don't want this program, I want to traverse it with the help of for each loop. I don't want normal for loop. I want for each loop. So how will I make use of it? For open parenthesis close, open curly braces close. So the first parameter is what is the type of data I'm going to traverse it is 10, 20, 30. What is the type of 10, 20, 30? It's int, correct? Int, one variable, traversing variable I, colon, from which array or collection I need to traverse, it's A here. So now when I just try to print this traversing variable I here, look at the output what I get here. I get the output in a beautiful manner. See here, in the normal for loop, I have to initialize, check the condition, increment, print, everything I have to do it manually. But in the help of for each loop, see, int is nothing but the type of data I am going to traverse. And I is a variable who is going to get the data one by one, one by one. He gets 1, he gets 10, 20, 30, one by one, one by one. Who has to go get the data? No, that is I. From where he should get the value? From the array A. So when I try to print this, see, A is nothing but 10, 20, 30. So I will go, he will get 10, then 20, then 30. One by one, one by one, one by one, he is going to get here. Internally, it makes use of a concept called as iterators. So that's the reason it becomes very, very easy for working around with for each loop. Now, similarly, imagine double, I'll write it as double, we'll write it as percentage. Okay, percentage here. Okay, this is a variable as of now. Do you all agree? Double percentage meaning it's a variable, sir, because it's a container wherein it can store a single data. Okay, that's it. It's a variable. Now, as soon as I write brackets, it becomes like array now. Now it's an array. So equal to, I will store 1.2 comma 3.4 comma 5.6 comma 7.8 blah 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 blah. You can store n number of values. Now if I want to traverse it with the help of for each loop, how am I supposed to do? For open parenthesis close and open curly braces close. And what is the first parameter? I need to specify the data type which I'm going to traverse. If I want to traverse 1.2, 3.4, 5.6, what is the type of data here? Very good. I am going to fetch double values here. Perfect. I have to write it as double. One variable. Who will go get the data for me? Who will go get the data for me? Can I write it as Z here? Give any variable name. Z is a person who is going to go get the data one by one, one by one, one by one for me. Colon. From which array or collection? Percentage is my array name. So I have to give the array name as percentage. Whatever is my array name or the collection name, I need to give it. Now here, I have to print the traversing variable name, that is Z. So once I tell Z over here, automatically all those contents will be printed here. One by one, one by one, one by one, I am printing it. So that's how we are supposed to make use of for each loop here. Okay. So the last example over here. Okay. So try to concentrate. Okay. String array of fruits. Okay. I have an array, string array, and the array name is fruits here. Equals to, I'll give the fruits name here. Okay. I'll give the fruits name over here. Okay. I'll give it as apple. Okay. Then I'll give it as mango. Okay. Then I'll give it as whatever name, chiku here. Okay. Chiku spelling CHO. I don't know the spelling only. Okay, we'll give some other name. Okay, we'll give it as butterfruit. Okay, so these are the different fruits over here which we have over here. Okay, so we have an array and the array name is fruits and it is storing three fruits here: apple, mango, butterfruit here. So now if I want to traverse it with the help of for each loop here, what am I supposed to do here? If I want to traverse with the help of for each loop, what is the type of array? I can give it as string because I'm going to fetch string here. Can I give it as fruit over here? Fruit colon from fruits here. So it simply means fruits is an array which is containing multiple values. But fruit means he gets apple, mango, butterfruit, one by one, one by one, one by one. He is going to get it here. I can just write it as fruit over here. So when I tell fruit, one object gets printed here. So here you can give it as, if you're getting confused here, you can just give it as F over here. Okay. If F also it works fine. But fruits is a container wherein it is storing multiple objects. Apple, mango, butterfruit, it's storing multiple objects. So if you wanted, you can just write it as fruit, fruit, meaning string fruit means he gets one fruit at a time, one fruit at a time. First he gets apple, then mango, then butterfruit here. So one by one, he's going to get it. See, I got the output. Got it. So this is how we are supposed to understand with the help of for each loop. Clear? Anyone having any confusions as of now with respect to for each loop? Quickly tell me. Any confusions? Okay, perfect. Okay. So we just understood what is for each loop. Perfect, guys. Okay. Now, similarly, okay, we have a lot of small topics to cover today. Okay. So what is it? I will tell you over here. Okay. So now here, yeah. Okay, this is about it. So now here, I'll go back over here. We have a topic called as wrapper classes here. Okay, we have a topic called as wrapper class. What is wrapper class, sir? Okay, it's very simple here. Okay, so generally here, whenever we talk about data types, they are categorized into two types. Long back I have done it, right? A long back I have done it. What are data types? It is used to specify the type of data, used to indicate the type of data. And they are categorized into two types. We also know what are those two types. Primitive, okay, and one more is non-primitive. Okay, data types are generally categorized into two types. One is called as primitive and other one is called as non-primitive. Okay, and what are primitive data types? I told you primitive data types are all keywords. Okay, and non-primitive data types are all classes here. Non-primitive means it's a class, primitive means it's a keyword. Okay, and now we also know that primitive data types will have fixed size. Okay, primitive data types will have fixed size, and non-primitive data type does not have fixed size. No fixed size over here. Okay, and we know all the primitive data types. Okay, what are those primitive data types here? We have so many, byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. So there are only 8 primitive data types here, and all the 8 primitive data types will have fixed size. That is byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, char. Okay, and non-primitive data type is nothing but it's a class. So string is the best example here. Why? Because sir, string is a class, sir, but still it's behaving as a data type. It's a non-primitive data type, and the default value for all non-primitive data types are null. Okay, it's a class, no? The default value for any class type is null here. Okay, so what are data types? Data type is an indication of the type of data that I'm going to store. So if I'm trying to tell a equals to 10, I need to tell what is the type of data that I'm going to store here. So 10 is a non-decimal numeric value that I'm storing it into variable a. I need to explicitly tell, oh, what type of data. So that is nothing but data type, indicating or specifying the type of data. Okay, that is categorized into two types: primitive, non-primitive. If a keyword is behaving as a data type, it's primitive. If a class is behaving as a data type, it is non-primitive. Primitive will have fixed size, non-primitive does not have any fixed size. Primitive, there are only 8 primitive data types in Java. Non-primitive, we can have 1,000 because if I have 1,000 classes, all those 1,000 classes can behave as a data type, but that will behave as a non-primitive data type because they are all classes. And the best example is string, and the default value is null. But the problem over here is this collection, right? Whatever we're talking about now, collection, this guy, he does not support primitive data types at all. He does not support primitive data types at all. Collection is pure object oriented. He allows only non-primitive data types here. He does not allow primitive data types. So that's the reason, that's the reason here. Okay, we had something called as wrapper class. Okay, wrapper class is nothing but it's simple. It's the non-primitive version of a primitive data type. Okay, non-primitive version of a primitive data type here. Okay, so what did you understood what are primitive and non-primitive, correct? But this collection framework, they do not allow, I mean, they do not support primitive data types. They do not support keywords. They do not support byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, char. It does not support primitives at all. So Java people, they had to create one alternative for it. Okay, they had to create one wrapper for it. So that's the reason we call it as wrapper class. So the wrapper class is nothing but the non-primitive version of a primitive data type. So in simple terms here, okay, byte is primitive. Okay, the non-primitive version is byte here, which is a class. Short is primitive. It's a keyword. The non-primitive version is short, which is a class. Then we have int. Int is a primitive data type. It's a keyword. But the respective non-primitive version is the wrapper class for int is integer. Long is the uppercase L, the naming convention for a class. Then float is float only. And double is, okay, it is double over here. Okay, so now here these are the respective non-primitive version, and then char, okay, we call it as character. Okay, we call it as character. And then here we also have one more data type, right? What is it? Boolean, correct? So we have boolean. The respective non-primitive version is boolean class here. Okay, so I told you collection does not support primitive data types. Okay, why doesn't it support? I know the answer for it, but we have to wait for one more session for it, because collection, I can store employee objects, student objects in my collection. Okay, so there is some additional point that I will add it over here. But as of now, here we'll just understand collection does not support. Why doesn't it support? I will tell you. Okay, so here in Java here, byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, and boolean are all primitive data types, meaning they are all keywords, and collection does not support primitive data types. So Java people had to create one wrapper for it, the alternative for it. That is nothing but a wrapper class. So byte has to be referred as byte, which is a class. Short, which is a class. Int has to be referred as integer. Integer is the wrapper class for int here. The non-primitive version of int is integer. The non-primitive version of char is character. Okay, remaining everything is same here. Long, float, double, boolean, everything is same. Clear? So this is what we are supposed to understand here. Okay, so these are all the wrapper data types. Non-primitive data type, that is nothing but the respective wrapper classes. Clear? So we understood what is for each loop used for traversing, wrapper class, the non-primitive version of a primitive data type. Primitive means it's a keyword. Int is primitive. What is its respective non-primitive version? The class version, it's integer. Char is primitive. What is its respective non-primitive version? Character. So that's how we are supposed to understand. Clear? So now, with this here, I just want to add one more point here. Okay? We have a topic called as we have a topic called as auto boxing, okay, and auto unboxing here. Okay, auto boxing and auto unboxing here. So this is one more topic which we need to come across here. Okay, so now here auto boxing is nothing but it's a process of converting. Auto boxing means it's a process of converting primitive data type into non-primitive data type. That is called as auto boxing. Auto boxing means the process of converting primitive data type into non-primitive data type. That is called as auto boxing. And auto unboxing is simple. Converting, okay, the vice versa. Okay, converting non-primitive data type into primitive data type. So that is the internal process which happens everywhere. Okay, in collection, everywhere it's auto boxing and unboxing. But you have to know that. Okay, auto boxing means we are trying to convert in primitive type of data into non-primitive type of data, and converting non-primitive type of data into primitive is called as unboxing. Boxing means primitive to non-primitive. Unboxing means non-primitive to primitive. Auto means it happens automatically. Okay, you just have to follow the syntax here, automatically it will happen. So just let us try to talk about a few things over here. Okay, so now here I'll just create a class. I'll just write it as boxing demo. Okay, the class name is boxing demo. Okay, so I will have my main method wherein the execution will begin from. Okay, after this over here. Okay, so now here tell me int a equals to 10. So now quickly tell me, is it primitive data type or non-primitive data type here? Primitive or non-primitive? Perfect, it's primitive. Sir, I am not blind, sir. I have made use of int, sir, which is a keyword. So it's a primitive data type. So this is primitive way, okay, primitive way of representing, okay, primitive way of representing 10 here. Okay, similarly, if I want to represent it into non-primitive way, how will I do? It's a class. So if it's a class, can I create an object of a class? Yes, integer b equals to new integer of, I create an object of integer and I pass that respective data here. So this is nothing but the non-primitive way of representing 10 here. Okay, meaning because I have created an object of integer class. Clear? A is primitive way of representing and B is the non-primitive representation. So if I just try to print A and B over here, okay, so you will get the idea here. So when I tell A and B here, see, I'll get the output as 10 and 10 only. But A is primitive way and B is non-primitive way. Why do we have, okay, what is the advantage also? I'll talk about it, guys. Don't worry. As of now, we're just understanding the working. But why do we use it? I will tell you later, okay? Don't worry about it. That curiosity, that suspense level, you have it in you, okay? So this is all we are supposed to understand, okay? And then there's one more point which I have to tell you, okay? All wrapper classes, okay? All wrapper classes are predefined class in java.lang package. Okay, all wrapper classes are predefined class. Okay, are predefined class in which data here? In java.lang package. See, press control on your keyboard, hover on the integer, click on it. So where is the control taking me to? See, integer is a final class. It's a predefined class which extends number, implements comparable, blah 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 blah. That's the source code of it. If I just go on the top here, see, what is the package? Java.lang package. So integer is a class present in java.lang package. Clear? So all the wrapper classes are predefined classes in wrapper class are predefined classes in java.lang package. And all the all wrapper class have automatically overridden the toString method. See, if I call this integer class, it's a class. Even this is inheriting the object class internally. Correct? As I told you, object is the supermost class. It might be user defined or predefined class, it doesn't matter. All the classes will inherit the object class. So even integer is inheriting the object class internally. So even all wrapper classes have overridden, okay, all wrapper classes have overridden the toString method internally. They have automatically overridden. See, when I try to print the object reference over here, I should have got the string representation, no? Why? When I try to print the object reference, the toString method will get called and the string representation should get printed. But since it is overridden, I'm not getting the string representation, rather I'm actually getting the content itself. Okay, that's primitive way of representing when, and this is one more is non-primitive way of representing 10 here. Similarly, okay, similarly, see over here, I will tell char x equals to, I will write it as a here. So this is primitive or non-primitive, guys? It's primitive variable, primitive declaration or non-primitive declaration. It's primitive way of representing a here. Why? Because I made use of char, which is a keyword. So it's a primitive way of representing a. And if I want to do it as non-primitive way, it's I have to create an object of it. Character y equals to new character of. Okay, and I have to pass the value called as a here. So this is nothing but the non-primitive way of representing a here. Okay, non-primitive representation of a here. Okay, we got the clarity. So now here, when I try to print this references over here, x, okay, x plus give a space plus y. Since toString method is overridden in all wrapper classes, I will get the actual content whichever I have passed. I got the output as a and a here. So all the wrapper classes are present in java.lang package and they have automatically overridden the toString method here. Okay, so that is what we are supposed to understand. Clear? I hope you got the clarity about which is which is primitive, which is non-primitive. I'm not done auto boxing, unboxing over here yet. Okay, so this is just the basic way of understanding. Okay, now I will start doing auto boxing and unboxing over here. Okay, see here, I'll start doing auto boxing and unboxing over here. Okay, so we'll try to do auto boxing over here. See here, let me just try to do it over here. See, now I will tell int I equals to 5. So I is nothing but primitive way. If I want to convert into non-primitive way, I have to just tell integer j equals to new integer of, and I just need to pass that I over here. So when I just try to print the I and j value, I'll get the same output only. But one is primitive way and another one is non-primitive way. See 5, 5 only. How did I get this expected output here? Simple. See, I is primitive type. I pass that primitive type, that is I pass I over here. So that gets converted to non-primitive version and gets stored it into J here. Similarly, char, okay, char P equals to, I write it as Z here. Okay, primitive way. If I want to convert it into non-primitive here, into a object type here, I have to create an object. Character Q equals to new character of, and I'll pass that P over here, the variable P. P is of type primitive. That P is of type primitive, that gets converted to non-primitive and gets stored it into Q here. Okay, so I can just write this P and Q value. I'll get the absolute output here. When I execute, did I get the output here? Yes, I got the expected data here. This is what we are supposed to understand when we talk about auto boxing. Auto boxing means converting primitive into non-primitive. See, int to integer, primitive to non-primitive. Again, char, primitive, character, non-primitive. So I have to just part the reference type over here that gets converted to non-primitive. Similarly over here, okay, similarly over here, wait for it, okay, wait for it. Let me do one more small data, that is auto unboxing. How will I do auto unboxing? See here, I will tell integer, okay, integer A equals to, I have taken A already, I'll take C equals to new integer of 50. This is non-primitive representation of 10. Everyone knows it. Oh, sorry, 50. Non-primitive representation of 50. If I want to convert it into primitive way, this I will just write it as D over here. So C, which was of type integer, gets converted to primitive way and then gets stored into D here. So it's very simple, guys. Okay, auto boxing and unboxing is nothing but we are converting the primitive type to non-primitive type and non-primitive type to primitive type. That's all about the entire process. You can do it for double also. See, double. Okay, I'll take it as argument 1. Okay, argument 1 equals to I'm just doing this one, no, double uppercase D argument 1, or else you'll write it as obj equals to new double of. I create an object of double class and I pass the value 5.42 here. So this is non-primitive representation of double, correct? And that is storing 5.2. If I want to convert it into primitive, this obj, which is of type double, I convert it into primitive type, that is double, and store it into some data. You'll write it as u here. Okay. So now when I just directly write it as it will directly get the output. See, I can write sys out u plus, I can write it as obj plus u here. So I'm just trying to get this respective data. So now did I get the output here? Yes, here. So this is what we are supposed to understand, primitive and non-primitive. This is all about the actual content here. Clear? So in simple terms, what are wrapper classes here? Wrapper classes are nothing but the non-primitive version of a primitive data type. Okay, the non-primitive version of a primitive data type is wrapper classes, and auto boxing is converting primitive to non-primitive, and auto unboxing is converting non-primitive to primitive here. So this is what we are supposed to understand in today's session here. Okay. Now, I'll summarize at the end, guys. Okay. Do not worry here. I'll summarize at the end here. Okay. And simultaneously, I will talk about a topic, and that topic is a very, very, very important topic here. Everywhere in entire collections, you'll be using it. The topic name is generics. Okay, we are supposed to talk about a topic called as generics. What are generics, sir? Generics are used to specify the element type. Okay, what is the job of a generics? Generics are used to specify of the element type here. And it was started from JDK 1.5 here. And how do we write generics? Open angular braces, close angular braces, and I have to specify the element type within this angular braces. Now you will have one confusion, sir. Double angular braces, what is it? Single angular braces, what is it? Double angular braces are stereotypes. They are used to represent interfaces. Okay. Double angular braces open and close are called as stereotypes used to represent interfaces. Single angular braces are called as generics used to represent what? Element types here. Okay. These are stereotypes used to represent interfaces. These are all called as generics used to represent the element type here or the data type here or the object type here, whatever it is. Okay. I will just show it to you practically over here. Okay. Now here guys, it's a very, very important concept. Concentrate. Control N and I will create a class called as generics demo. Okay. The class name is generics demo and I have my main method wherein the execution will generally behave from. I mean, it will start from the main method over here. Now over here, what I'll try to do here is, okay, see here, I will create an object of array list. Array list L equals to new array list of. I create an object of array list over here. So why is it giving an error, sir? Array list is a collection. Okay, it's a collection. You're creating an object of it, and that class is present in java.util package. So we have to import it. Perfect. Okay. So we are creating an object of array list class, and that is present in java.util package. So we are importing it. Okay. Great. So now after that here, I will add the object. See, L dot add of. I am telling 10. I am telling L dot add of 20.45. Okay, and I'm telling L dot add of. I'm writing it as Java. So in my array list here, okay, I can store integer object, double object, string object. I can store heterogeneous type of objects here. But my restriction is I want to create an array list in such a way it will allow only string objects. What am I supposed to do? It should allow only string objects. Therefore, I have to make use of generics. So just after the class name, you can make use of angular braces open and close and write it down as string. So as soon as you write it down as string, that's more than sufficient. Okay, right after the class name, you have to write it as string. Optionally, after the constructor name, during object creation, you can write it as string also. Over there also, you can write it down. Okay, so you have explicitly told you are creating an object of array list that can allow only string objects. See, Java is a string, it's valid. But 10 is not a string, so it's giving an error. So can I write it as 10, 20, 20 in double quotes here? Possible. And can I write it as SQL here? Possible. So now you have created an array list in such a way it can store only string objects. Why? Because you have told array list can allow only string objects. That is the job of generics. Used to specify the element type, what type of objects it can allow here. Clear? So we have made use of it. Now if I want to traverse it with the help of for each loop, so how will I do it? What is the type of objects I'm going to traverse here? I'm going to fetch Java SQL 20. They're all strings. So the type of data which I'm going to traverse is string. One traversing variable is colon. From which array or collection? It is L here. And when I just try to print this traversing variable name, I will get the output in 1 by 1, 1 by 1, 1 by 1. I will get the output here. Okay. Similarly, don't worry. I'm giving thousands of examples here. Okay. Now here I create an object of linked list. Linked list x equals to new linked list of. I create an object of linked list, sir. But linked list is a class present in java.util package, sir. So I need to import it. So let me import it from java.util package. So now here x dot add of, okay, 10, x dot add of 12.34, x dot add of true, which is a boolean value. Now into my linked list, I am storing heterogeneous objects. See, integer, double, boolean. So three different types of objects. But now I have to create a linked list in such a way it has to allow only non-decimal numeric values. Only int objects, integer objects it should allow. So what am I supposed to do? At the class name, right after the class name and right after the constructor name, we have to make use of angular braces. And within that, I have to tell int and I have to tell int here. But why is it giving an error here? Why is it giving an error? Correct, no. Int, it should work fine, no? Why is it giving an error, guys? Angular braces, correct, generics. I'm telling it as int. Why is it giving an error? Can you think and tell me? Think, no, why is it giving an error here? Simple terms. A few minutes back, I told, sir, collection does not support primitive data types. So linked list is a type of collection only, correct? So it does not support primitive data types. It does not allow. So what is the non-primitive version of int here? What is the non-primitive representation of int here? It's integer. So I have to write it as integer over here because int will not work because it's primitive. Primitives cannot be used in collection. So as soon as I told integer over here, it is allowing only 10 because it's an integer object. So this will also allow 134 integer object. True, it's not allowing because it's a boolean object. So you can write it as 67. So linked list object you have created in such a way, it can allow only integer objects, nothing apart from that here. Got it? So this is what we are supposed to understand when it comes to, the data here. Now, can you tell me, this is for each loop. I want to traverse it one by one, one by one, one. How will I do it now? Sir, what is the type of data I'm going to traverse, sir? It is int. It integer or int here. Anything is fine because auto boxing, unboxing will happen internally. Int I colon. From which array or collection? X. So I have to just print the traversing variable name. Okay, I'll get the output. See, I got the output as 10, 34, 67. So you will now tell, sir, you have told it as integer, sir, and you have told it as int, sir. How will it work? Guys, this is a for each loop. It's not a part of collection. I made use of it in arrays also, no? So it works fine. Collection means it supports only non-primitive. This is a for loop. It will support primitive types as well. Even if you write it as integer, it's not an error. Okay, even if you write it as an integer, no, it's definitely not an error. See, it works fine. Because internally we have a concept called as auto boxing and unboxing. No, primitive gets converted to non-primitive, non-primitive get converted to primitive. That will work happen internally. So that way you will get the output here. Clear? So now when I execute it, I will get the output. See, I got it. It works the same way. Primitive, non-primitive, doesn't matter. Boxing, unboxing will happen. Okay. Now. Concentrate. Okay. Now here, what I'll try to do here is, I'll have one more last example for you. Array list z equals to new array list of. Okay, I create an object of array list. Now I tell z dot add of, I'll write it as hi. Okay, z dot add of 10, 3, 4 and z dot add of 1 point, true here. I'll write as true. So now here you have created an array list object in such a way it can allow heterogeneous object. But I want to use only double, only decimal object. So what am I supposed to do? Generics type. And what can I do here? I can just write double over here. But as soon as I write it as double, it gives an error. Why? Sir, double is primitive. So you are creating an array list in such a way it has to allow only decimal values. Correct? But here, sir, double is lowercase d. So it will behave as a, keyword. So you have to write it as uppercase key. Okay, so as soon as you write it as double, it works fine. See, 102.34 works fine. True will give an error. I'll give it as 3.45. Okay, 3.45. And high also gives an error. I'll give it as 8.99. So if you could closely observe, I have not used it at the constructor side. But is it still working? Yes, absolutely working. So it's optional to specify at the constructor side. It's not mandatory that I have to write it both ways. But it's good if you write it also, it's fine. Even if you don't write it also, it's fine. See, even if you write it down over here, it works fine. Even if you don't write it at the constructor side, it's fine because it is optional. Okay. And if I want to traverse it with the help of for each loop, what am I supposed to do here? So look here, if I want to traverse it with the help of for each loop, I have to tell double x colon from z here. So x I have already taken, that's the reason I'll take it as j. Okay, sys out, I have to write it as j here because x I have already taken somewhere. Yeah, see, x I have already taken. No, that's the reason. Okay, so when I traverse it, I get the output here. You can also write it as double also. You can also write it uppercase t. So both will work fine. It's not that you have to make lowercase or uppercase. Okay, nothing like that. Okay, you make use of whatever you want it over here. It absolutely works fine over here. Okay, so this is all about what is generics and what are we supposed to do over here. I hope you got the clarity about this entire process here. Okay, now there's one more small topic which I just want to tell here. Okay, now here this is interview question. Okay, this is interview question. See guys, I will tell int a equals to 10. Now quickly tell me guys, is it primitive or non-primitive? Primitive or non-primitive? P or NP? You just tell me that. P or NP? Primitive or non-primitive? Very good. It is primitive. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So now I will create an object of array list. Array list L equals to new array list of. Okay, new array list of. Now when I tell L dot add of A, so what should be my output? Will it add successfully or will it give an error? Because A is of type int and I am trying to add A, which is of primitive type, into my collection. So will it give an error or will it work fine? Okay, is it valid or invalid? You just tell me that. Will it give, is it valid or invalid? Okay, you just think and tell me. Just think for a moment and tell me here. Is it valid or invalid? Okay, you're just still thinking here, is it valid or invalid? Okay, so I'll prove it to you. Okay, I'll show the example over here. I will create a class called as example. Okay, and I will have my main method over here. So in my main method, I will have int a equals to 10 over here. So now when I create an object of array list L equals to new array list of, okay, I just create an object of array list over here. Wait just a moment, array list over here. Okay, we imported it. Okay, now here when I tell L dot add of, okay, A, is it giving me any error? No, it works fine. Sir, you just told collection does not support primitive, sir, but you're adding a primitive type. How does it work? Internally auto boxing is happening. So here L dot add of A might be primitive, but that gets converted to its non-primitive representation and then get it stored here. So this is what is happening internally. Internally, that's what is happening. Okay, internally new dot integer of 10 is what is getting inserted. So that primitive is getting converted to non-primitive representation, and that is wherein it is adding. That's the reason I tell you collection is used to store a group of objects. When I just tell L dot add of, see, L dot add of 20.45, it's nothing but it's a double object. Internally, it's getting converted to its respective non-primitive version. So if it's decimal value, it will point to double. Double of 20.45. Got the clarity? So whenever you try to pass a primitive or non-primitive, doesn't matter. Okay? Auto boxing will happen. That's the reason I told you. See, if I add A, it's a primitive value. So it will get converted to its non-primitive representation and then get stored into the object here. So that is what I told. Collection is used to store objects integer object, double object, character object that way. And even if I tell char b equals to, okay, char b equals to, I write it as z over here. It's primitive. But if I try to add L dot add off, okay, L dot add off, I write it as B over here. It works fine. See, I am adding B here. It works fine. It does not give me any error at all. Why? Internally, it is L dot add off new character object. Okay, new character object here. Okay, and what is that character object of? B here. So that B is nothing but, okay, that B is nothing but it's Z over here that gets converted to its respective non-primitive version. This is what we are supposed to understand when it comes to the process of understanding primitive, non-primitive and auto-boxing and unboxing. Now tell me, what is the type of data here? So in the previous example over here, see, it was storing only double objects. See, double objects over here, you wrote it as double. Here you are storing only int object, see, integer object, so you wrote it as int over here. Correct. But again in the top example, first example, we had only string objects, you wrote it as string here. But now since it is having heterogeneous object, what will be the type of data over here? See, when I write it as int I colon L over here, it is giving an error. Why? Because L is not containing only integer object, so it's giving an error. If I write it as double also, okay, double also, it will give an error. Why? Because it is not storing only double objects here. Even if I give it as a char, it doesn't work fine. Why? It's not only character object. So here I am passing all the integer object, double object, character object. So what am I supposed to do here? I type. What will be I type here? What should be the type over here? Any idea what should be the type of data, guys? What should be the type of data here? No, no type of array. I cannot write it as array list also. I cannot write it as array list I also. That means it's not possible because this is all storing different data. What am I supposed to do? How is example related to all this? If you people are giving the answer, I will tell you something. Okay, I'll tell you something. Everyone knows what is upcasting now. Long back we did upcasting now. In a beautiful manner we did it now. Okay. So now internally, do you all know that? See here, there is a class called as integer. Okay, perfect now. There is a class called as integer. There is a class called as double. Okay, and there is so and so classes as well. There is a class called as character as well. Okay, there is a class called as character as well. So we know that, sir, every class in Java, it might be either user defined or predefined. It will have the supermost class called as object here. Correct. So now creating an object of subclass and storing its address into a reference O which is of type superclass. See here, I can create an object of integer object. I can create an object of double also, and I can also create an object of character as well. So what is upcasting here? Creating an object of subclass and storing its address into a reference, which is of type superclass here. So integer object, double object, character object, these are all getting stored into a reference of type object class. Correct. So similarly over here, into my collection, A is nothing but it's an integer object. See, new integer of. When I tell 20.45, it's nothing but double object. Okay, that is nothing but what? Double object over here. Okay. Similarly over here, that's a double object. Okay. Similarly, wait over here, it's a double object. This is a character object. See, when I tell B, it's nothing but a character object. So all these objects, see, character object, double object, integer object will always have the superclass called as object. So I can just write it as object O here and try to print object O. So in simple terms, if there are heterogeneous objects, I can blindly write it as the superclass called as object. Why? Because upcasting, guys, generalization. What is it? Generalization or upcasting. Did we do it long back? Generalization or upcasting, wherein we are just creating an object of subclass and storing it into a reference of type superclass. Superclass reference, subclass object, generalization. So that is what I have told you over here. See here. See, if it is A, that's an integer object. If I tell it as 10.5, double object. If I tell it as Z, it's a character object. So integer object, double object, character object can always get stored into a reference object of type obj. Correct? No, upcasting. So that way we can store this into the data here. Clear? So whenever we have heterogeneous type of data, we can write it as object. Clear? Everyone understood over here? Any confusions now? You understood why is that object over here? Because we're trying to store different types of objects here. Clear? Any confusions, guys? Everyone understood now? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. See here. Very good, very good. Okay. You did not understand, Mohanty? Okay, wait. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you. Uh, okay, wait. I'll show you one more way. Okay, see here. Now here, okay, we'll just take one more example, okay, for better understanding. Okay. Now I will create an object of linked list. Linked list L equals to new linked list of, okay, new linked list of, okay. This is linked list object. So here, oh, I've taken already L here, right? So I'll take it as LL. So I have to import it from java.util package, correct? So now as soon as I tell ll dot add here, can you see here? Add method is taking object type argument, means you can pass any type of objects. So that's the reason it's taking object E. Object E means I can pass an object of employee also, student also, monkey also, donkey also, pen also, car also, whatever it is. Why? Because all the classes have the superclass called as object over here. Correct? It will have the superclass called as object. So by default, I can store heterogeneous objects. But as soon as I write it as integer over here, as soon as I write it as integer over here, look at the process here. When I tell add of, see, now you can add only integer object. Why? Because you have restricted. That is telling you can store only integer objects here. If I do not use over here, I can just write it as add. Add of 1, okay, 10. Okay, we'll write it as 10. Clear? ll.add of, okay, you will just write it as Java, okay, and here you will just write it as ll.add of 1.2 over here. So now if I want to traverse it over here, so what will be the type, guys? In simple terms, internally it's like object. When I write it as object over here, okay, you can store any type of objects: integer object, string object, decimal object. Even if you don't write it anything over here, it's automatically object type only. So you can pass integer object, string object, and decimal object as well. So internally it's nothing but what? New integer of, okay, new integer of 10. It's a integer object. Here over here, it's a new string object over here, wherein Java is getting stored here. String object. And here it's nothing but new double object here. That is nothing but 1.2. So all the objects, these are all predefined. We are all storing all these objects here. Okay. This is what about when I tell 10, it's nothing but an integer object. When I tell Java here, it's a string object. When I tell 1.2, it's a double object. So if I have heterogeneous objects over here, what will be the type to traverse it here? I want a generic type. No, I want a generic type. If it was storing only int objects, I would have written it as int. If it was only string object, I would have written it as string. Only double object, I would have written it as double. But since it is having heterogeneous objects over here, okay, I need to write it as object type reference, because each and every object can be stored over here. See, I'll write it as that data and I'll pass it as LL over here. Okay, and if I want to traverse it, I can just write it. See, when I execute it over here, did I get the expected output over here? So just to understand the generic type, see, integer object, string object, double object, I'm writing it as object type reference, because all the objects should get sorted, right? That's the reason. See, if my array was containing only string objects, you will write it as string over here, because it's only string. If it was only decimal object, you will write it as only double. Why? It's decimal. But since if you have heterogeneous objects here, how will you know the generic type? So that's the reason here we have to always write the generic way. So if you want even more simpler manner over here, okay, long back when I did generalization over here, I generally speak about it. Okay, I generally talk about that. What is it here? Do we have space? No. We'll try to create a new sheet here. Okay, see here. Okay, imagine these are all classes. We have a display method. Okay, we have a display method. So now to the display method, I have to pass. See here, to the display method, I have to pass display of, I have to pass new car object, display of new double object, okay, and new employee object, okay, display of, and I will also pass new integer object. So to a single method, I am passing a car object, I am passing a double object, I am passing an employee object, and I am passing an integer object. So I am passing different types of objects to a single method. So can I just write it as obj object type here? Why? Because obj is of type object. So all the classes will have the superclass called as object. So that is nothing but upcasting. So you can easily do it. Clear? So this is all about the entire process here. Okay. I hope you all got the clarity about this entire process here. Okay. So this is all about this entire content here. Okay. So now what have we discussed in today's session over here? We spoke about something called as for each loop. Okay. For each loop is nothing but how do we traverse the content one by one, one by one, one by one. Then we saw what are wrapper classes. What are wrapper classes? The non-primitive version of a primitive data type. Then we also understood primitive, and we also understood what is non-primitive, and then auto boxing and auto unboxing. Converting primitive to non-primitive is auto boxing, non-primitive to primitive is auto unboxing. So these are the respective content here. Okay. And after this here, we also saw generics, specifying the element type. How do we traverse these elements? We saw with the help of generics and all those. Okay. So this is all about the entire session, guys. Okay. So those 3 days of collections here are going to be the prerequisite of tomorrow's session. If you do not understand those three sessions over here, whatever we did in the previous part, it's going to be difficult for you. Okay. So make sure, okay, learn all the 3 day session here once you attend tomorrow's session so that it becomes easy for you all. Clear everyone? Okay. So anyone having any questions with respect to today's session here? Okay. Anyone having any questions with respect to today's session? Okay, great guys. Okay, so we shall wind up a session for today and catch up tomorrow. Okay, so thank you all. Take care. Bye bye.